Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining us again on the Goodie Bag. The Goodie Bag, I'm Goodie Hendrixson. Of course, the Goodie Bag is here because I love gifts. That is my love language. And I have someone here on my podcast who I admire, somebody I think is cool. And today is just someone that I mildly tolerate. He's named one of the top comedians in Columbus by the Columbus Underground. You've seen him produce the Black Friday show, the 670E show. You've seen him wearing orange dunks all around town. Everybody give it up for Terrance ThaGawdShow Davis.
Oh, look, that's such a wonderful welcome. That is an incredible introduction. My heart is full. I love when white people say that shit. My heart is full. My heart is full. What does that even mean? Well, my heart is full, Goodie. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Do I give you this gift now?
Yes, give me my gift.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So.
A unicorn bag.
Yeah. So if you're in the lifestyle, you know what I mean. You know what a unicorn means.
What does a unicorn mean?
I don't know. I'm not in the lifestyle.
If you are in the lifestyle, unicorn is a woman who is single and she's ready to mingle.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's a bag. I got a 9-year-old daughter, so I got bags.
And foil. Okay.
Yeah, that's just in case we have some conspiracies. You know what I'm saying? That happens.
Okay. Let's see. Is this the one thing that's in here?
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. So it's a book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It says Fire, Poetic Memories of a Movement by Karen Marie.
Yes.
I know Karen.
You do know Karen.
This is her book.
It is her book. Yes, you do. No.
Shout out to Karen. Hey, girl.
So that's the homie Karen Marie.
I didn't know she was an author.
Are you for real?
Did I not know that?
It doesn't.
I don't know. I be drunk a lot and be forgetting stuff.
But yes, she is an incredible author. She is a poet. And that was, I believe, her most recent book. So that came out in 2021.
Okay.
And for anybody who's listening, if you have not seen Karen perform live, like it is a
because she's a poet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a whole ass vibe. So if you have not seen her perform live, you need to check that out. One of the reasons why I got that for you is because I don't know if your listeners of your podcast know that you have some background in poetry. You know, I don't know if they know that you're a bit of a poet yourself.
Not you bringing my business.
Yeah, that's right, Goodie. I decided to dig into the bag. You know, put you on blast.
Yeah, I did poetry. I was on the national poetry team for Cleveland. We went to the Nationals in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And we were ill-equipped. We were ill-equipped for what was happening, but this was years ago. I was in high school. So I want to say the name of the program was like Youth Speaks or Speak Out for Youth or something like that. Yeah. And I'm so glad that Instagram didn't exist at the time and social media wasn't a thing, because we were definitely in the hotel running like we were fucking 16 years old with no supervision.
That's fair. Okay. I thought you were gonna say you don't want Instagram to exist so people didn't know that you're about the poetry, but it's because y'all was 16 and tripping.
Yeah, we was like smoking weed, but then we were like having all of these like sick ass like ciphers and shit. Like we was really just like having a good time, but it's like I'm so glad that only exists in my brain.
Yeah, well, I mean that's you're supposed to live it up when you're 16.
Yeah, man. Wow, you got me going down memory lane. I forgot kind of about this part of my life, but I did. I was a pretty good poet, I think, and I actually, my therapist had me send her some of my poems. She was like, I want to like see what was going on in 16-year-old Goodie's mind. Yeah. So I scanned her maybe, once I actually like looked at it, I had like maybe 300 pieces of poetry.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm like, what is the most significant? So I send her a couple of things. Yeah. And it's like rereading some of that shit. I'm like, damn, girl, you was really going through it, because some of this shit still makes sense to me right now.
So a part of that, the reason I wanted to bring the conversation out, because when was the last time that you wrote?
A poem?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably easily at minimum 10 years.
Okay.
It's been a very, very long time.
Okay. All right. So you just gotta weigh with words. Now you're telling jokes. Different.
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess that's what it is, because
that was the thing. So for any of the listeners out here who do not know, how I met Goodie is I had a podcast, the Godcast, a few years ago, and that's when I first had my introduction to Goodie. So the other gift that I was actually going to bring is I was going to bring the cucumber vodka.
Oh,
I was bringing the cucumber vodka.
The effing?
Yeah.
That was I was on the effing cucumber kick.
Yes.
For a very long. I haven't had that in a long time.
Yeah,
I'm more of a whiskey girl now, but I was going real heavy on that effing vodka.
You were from white to dark.
Yeah, join the dark side.
Yeah, it's understandable.
Yeah, no, but that was my shit during the pandemic.
Yeah, but that was going to be the other gift. But yeah, so when you were on my podcast at the time, I was like, hey, what do I got to do to get on your podcast? For the people who know, that's one. If you know, you know. She had another podcast. I did not make it to that podcast.
You did not.
But I am on this podcast. So I'm grateful. I didn't specify, but I am on your podcast. So thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for allowing me to be on your podcast. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But you're true to, I don't know if you were true to your word, because you didn't tell me that I was, but I made it on one of your podcasts.
This one, the Goodie Bag, yes, but the other one, no.
Nope. Yeah.
Nope.
So
let's just make it very clear. No, he does not qualify to be on my other podcast.
No, I don't have the stripes.
You do not.
Don't have the stripes, but I'm on one, so I'm good.
Yes, I appreciate the book.
I'm good.
Fire Moment, Poetic Memories of a Moment. Oh, memoirs of a movement. Okay,
it's dope. I actually, when she had her last show, I got a few copies of that. So,
and this is like nice, girl, Karen. Okay, I see
man.
you, girl.
Karen's the homie.
Quality.
So shout out to Karen Marie for her wonderful art. Being a part of the Black Friday cast. You know, the homie part of Black Friday cast.
Yes. Black Friday. Let's talk about Black Friday. How did Black Friday come about? What gave you the idea for Black Friday?
So when actually it came about, me and Hannah, one of the owners of Hashtag, she had a bunch of events that she was doing, and she was like, I talked to Hannah like every day, right? Mm-hmm. And she was like, man, I have so much on my plate, I've been doing so much stuff. And I was like, you know what, give me a week and I'll just produce something for you. Mm-hmm. And she was like, all right, cool. And at the time I didn't even really know like what I was going to do, but then there was a side conversation, and that happened right after Improv Wars had ended, that was run by Joel Savage. Mm-hmm. And Jay had a group chat, and it was just all kind of like random stuff. And I was like, you know what? Let's just do another show. Let's do a variety show. Let's do, and so since I had a Friday, we just pulled it together. So it's Black Friday. So the people that were in that group chat, and I decided to throw some stand-up in there. Obviously want to do some music. We had Dylan Burke, the Saxation. He was able to.
Oh yeah, I remember him at that show. Yeah.
So it was dope, man.
Was that the first show?
Dylan actually came in on the second show.
Okay.
He came in on the second show, but the first one was we had Chris Tolloy, we had Walter Yosef as the other stand-up. Murph Henderson was on, and of course you were the other stand-ups. Mm-hmm. So that was dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're my comedy security blanket. You're my comedy security blanket.
Just like, I'm gonna just throw Goodie on this show.
Yeah. Seriously, so every new thing that I've started. So when I started the 670E show, I went to you and asked you to be a part of it, and I appreciate you being a part of it, because as a producer, you don't always know how stuff is going to work, right? Mm-hmm. But like, I know that you're going to show up and you're going to be funny. You know what I mean?
And I'm going to be drunk.
Yeah. But the show part, see, that's the important part. Sometimes people just going to be drunk and then they don't show up. You know what I'm saying?
I've had that happen.
Yeah. Or they show up, be drunk, and don't be funny. You know what I'm saying? But you show up and you're funny. And whether you're drunk or not, that's between you and God. You know what I mean? It ain't got nothing to do with me.
That's true.
But yeah, so I do appreciate you because again, I want to say like every new thing that I've done creatively, I've had you be a part of, like very early, even when we were doing the Face Club shows, when we did the FC3 shows, and you did that show. I brought you on. I think was Anthony on that show.
Was that the one at Flint Station?
Yeah. Was at Flint Station.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was it. So you look, if it's new, I'm always, you're like, seriously, you're one of the first people I reached out to. Like I did Jokes and Jazz. I reached out to you, but you was playing Army.
I was doing Army shit.
Yeah, you was doing military shit. But yeah, it means a lot to me, like as a producer, have someone that you can just rely on. You know they're going to show up and they're going to deliver. And you're that person.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like I come to you whenever I have any type of idea. I'm like, is this dumb? Or like, and you just, and you'll be like, I mean, yeah, it's dumb, but
it'll work. It'll work. But you know, like I think that's really cool, man, because I think, and we talked about it off camera, but like there's a lot of people in the industry that like you can't really like trust in that way, right?
Yeah.
Like there's some people, they'll say yes, it's a good idea just to like, you know, just to go along with it, right? And the idea could be terrible, you know, but getting feedback from like you and Anthony Windsor is a person I always talk to. He'll tell me if my idea is dumb or if it doesn't seem to be viable. Talk to Hannah Romes about like some of those things. Like, I got this idea. What do you think about this? And I always talk to those people that I trust, and they let me know if it's going to or what their thoughts on it are. But you don't always get that. So it's important to have people that you know that you can trust, and you're a friend, you know, outside of comedy, you know, a person that I really value, you know, your feedback about, you know, other stuff other than comedy shit too.
Yeah.
So
because I hold your feet to the fire and I tell you when you being a fucking dick.
And I appreciate that, you know, like that's the real shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, well, I'm over here
breaking shit.
But that's the real thing. I feel like it's our responsibility to keep everyone in check. You know what I mean? Hold everybody accountable. Like if I'm off the mark, let me know. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'll course correct. You know what I mean? Because we're not perfect. Nobody's going to. No one's infallible. We're gonna make mistakes. And so if you talk to your friends and they're like, "Oh, it's fine," then you know they ain't really your friends.
They ain't fucking with you for it. They like, "Wow, this bitch looks dumb," but I'm not gonna say shit. Like, what the fuck?
Right. So that's very much appreciated. So
I will say, so last year for my birthday, I was like, I want to fucking have a roast.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I just remember like having this idea and like talking it over with you. And I feel like I used to give you shit for like putting on shows. But after producing my own fucking birthday show, that shit was so, I was like, I'm never fucking doing this shit ever the fuck again.
It takes a lot.
It's so much work.
It takes a lot. Yeah, man. Imagine if you had produced your show and you didn't even do the sound check.
Which I didn't do. I mean, and it's just like shit like that. Like that's why I'm very grateful for you and like the relationship that we have when it comes to producing shows and shit, because like that never even crossed my mind. You was like, yeah, I'm here early because I have to do sound check. And I was like, oh, that's a thing? Yeah. And it's been twice that my roast and the show that we just did.
The other joint, I was like, yo, who's working the door? Or are you going to be there to work the door? That's the worst. That's the most important thing. You got to get paid for your work. You got to get paid.
But that's why I was just like, I'm your security blanket. You are also mine.
Yeah. Well, there we go. We got the yin and the yang. It's mutual. But yeah, no, man. Like that stuff is cool. And I think locally, if you start producing shows, you'll either enjoy it or you'll go fucking nuts. And I feel like I do a little bit of both. Like I enjoy it, and it also does drive me nuts. But there's the difference between like a well-run show and like some of the other stuff is the details, right? Like you have to make sure stuff is streamlined, either, you know, with the promo so people know exactly what they're getting. And then again, sound checks, right? Making sure the microphone's in the right place, the seats are in the right place for where people can see, where you can see the people, or where's the lights. Like all of that small stuff is really important. Yeah. Because if not, you'll start the show, you'll get feedback from the mic, or it's too quiet, or it's too loud. One mic will be loud, one mic will be soft, like all of that stuff. And then people don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I've always come from, like, I'm a huge fan of the scene. I'm a huge fan of comedy, local music, like all that, just local art. So, like, I'm always looking at things from, like, would I enjoy it if I were there, you know? So, like, at your roast or, like, at my show I'm producing or whatever, I'm always looking at it from the seats. Like, if I paid $20 to be here, would I have a good time? That's where I'm always looking at it. So
that's a good way to think about it.
I think a lot of people forget, you know, like, as you become a comedian, you start to look at it from the comic standpoint, which really no one gives a shit other than other comics. You know what I mean? And that's where I think a lot of people go wrong, even like building audiences and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because comics start trying to entertain other comics, which is a very small group, right?
Yeah.
Comics aren't going to pay $20 to come see your show because they're, one, already comics, two, they might be booked or whatever. And if you're telling jokes that make comics laugh, like, there's a certain value in that, but not as much as it is to the regular folks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Who's going to fucking actually, like, turn up and laugh and shit.
Yeah. So, like, you know, you can, that has always been the most important thing for me, is to make sure that the regular folks are enjoying what they're coming to see.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't doing that when I was planning my roast. I was like, this is all about me. I don't give a fuck about anyone else. But I mean, it still sold out, which was nice. But it was also just like, it's my birthday. That's also another thing when I think about it. Because it was like my birthday. And then I feel like if I was just producing like a normal show, then it would be different. But I'm like, this is my fucking birthday.
Oh, it was laid out, man. It was laid out. You had the photographer, the booth area, the photo area, you know, the balloons and like all of that. It was laid out.
It was very lit.
It was beautiful.
It was very lit.
It was a fun time. That was one of that summer. Like, there was so much that was happening. That was one of the things I enjoyed so much that summer. Like, that was so fun. And then just like the people that we had on it, you know what I mean? Because we just got to
and y'all
talk
roasted
shit.
the fuck out of me.
Yeah. You held your own, you know what I mean? You went, you had some shots back, but that was fun. That was really fun.
Yeah.
I can't wait to roast you again.
I don't know if I can do another roast. Y'all niggas really. And I will stand by this until the day I die. Anthony's kicked it off so strong. Anthony Windsor is another Columbus comedian. He is very, very funny.
He's hilarious.
He dogged my shit. And I was just sitting there like... That shit was fucking crazy.
Anthony, man, he's hilarious. He's hilarious. We were sitting in the side room and we were like kind of deciding like what jokes we were going to say. And we were kind of just making sure we didn't like hit the same thing too many times. Like, what you gonna talk? You gonna talk about her hair? You gonna talk about her lips? You gonna talk about her dog? What you talking about? So we were just making sure we didn't like, you know, hit the same thing too much. And then like everything Anthony said, it was funny because none of us had even had that. We was like, damn, bro, like you.
He had like a solid 10 minutes of roasting the fuck out of me. Like I was like,
killing it.
I'm like, this is not Comedy Central, bro.
He was killing it. But yeah, shout out to Anthony Windsor, man. He's a great dude, man. He's a great dude. He had it. But yeah, the next roast, I don't know if I can even talk about this, but upcoming, Hood Panda's birthday is happening. And so me and him, we're going to co-produce his birthday roast.
Okay, yeah, I need to be in on that.
Yeah.
Because I got a lot of jokes about him being at my house till fucking 7 in the morning.
Yeah. Panda's, he's a trip, man. So yeah, that's definitely in the works. That's coming up.
Okay.
That's coming up. So be prepared. We're gonna light it up again. I don't know the venue. We've talked to a couple of spots, but yeah, that's gonna be the next roast that we do.
Oh, that's gonna be fucking lit.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Wow. I mean, Terrance, you've made such a mark on the scene in Columbus and the comedy community.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it kind of happened like super fast out of nowhere, or do you feel like you've been putting in diligent work to get to where you are?
I feel like there's a little bit of both, right? So I feel like one, I've been in the scene for a long time, right? So I've been doing, even going back to improv, I started doing improv like 5 or 6 years ago, and then producing stuff with like Face Club. And so like we've been doing shows, for a while. And then as I said before that, like I was a fan. So like I was involved in the scene, like I was showing up for stuff. Maybe like the comics now didn't know that I was there, but like I knew about them before they knew about me. But on the other side of that, like, has it been a short while? I've been doing stand-up for like a year and a half now, right?
I feel like you and I started doing stand-up like around the same time.
You started doing it a little bit before me because you were like kind of one of the inspirations. I was like, oh, well, shit, if she can be funny, I can too. You know what I'm saying? Also,
not this woman being funny. I'm going to try.
Where the camera, since it's being recorded. Remember when I whipped your ass in that comedy competition?
Nigga, no the fuck you didn't. Shut the fuck up.
I don't know, man. I got that W. You know what I'm saying?
First off, that was a whole. Let's just talk about sexism.
Yeah, let's edit this out here. But like I was saying, you know, I've been doing stand up for, you know, like about a year and a half. But it's been a lot of like really quick moves. And I think about some of the stuff because sometimes I look and I'm like, man, how come I'm not getting booked for this or this gig or whatever? And then I'll be like, oh, you know, like not everybody knows, and it's been a short time. But one of the things that I started doing stand up, and I didn't think I was getting the action that I wanted. Like I wasn't getting booked or whatever. So then I was like, fuck it, man, I'll just book myself. And that's where the 670 show was. And that was the first show that, you know, I brought you in on, you know, and then where we sold about 70 tickets or whatever. The room was packed. It was lit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a good time.
And then after that, then other people started coming to me because they were like, oh, so like there must be something there. And then so from that. But then, you know, going back to like 2021 when I did Improv-ageddon.
Which was an amazing show that you need to bring back immediately.
There's been planning on doing that. Like that was crazy lit. That went even better than like I could have even expected.
That was such a good show. I was very, very proud of you. Yeah. Like it was like, didn't you have like over 100 people there?
It was 160 plus people there.
Yeah, that was like a huge show.
It was 160 plus. And then with that being like in the shadow of COVID, you know, so it was like threading the needle, and then that actually ended up being like one of the biggest shows of the year in the city just by nature of COVID and like all of that. And that really put me on the map for a lot of like venues and stuff. So like I remember going to the Funny Bone because I wanted to throw that show at the Funny Bone originally, and they didn't even respond to my message.
He was like, get this nigga out here.
They didn't even respond. And then after that, because it got cable news coverage and stuff, like it was... And then at that point, then people started coming to me about producing stuff. And that gave me like kind of a more control of like what I could do, which was dope. So that worked out really, really well. And so that was it. So, but yeah, so I think the work has been put in, you know. And then I think you can also do work by, you can get mental reps, right? So like by the sitting on the sidelines and looking at a show, or if you're a part of a show, you know what works, what goes well, what didn't go well. The things that you liked about, you know, even when like you were doing your roast, right? You're like, I like this, I don't like this. I'm not going to put this in my show because I think this is stupid. Why would I do this? And so like you, to choose, like some people, they just want to throw stuff all together.
Yeah.
But for me, it's always important. It's what the audience is going to receive, right? Because I always think about if I'm producing a show, it is what I pay $20 to come down in the park. I say this all the time. You can get comedy anywhere, right? You can go to TikTok, you can go to Netflix, you can go to YouTube, whatever. You get comedy, and most of the time you get it for free. But to pay $20 in the drive down in the park and it's raining, you have to give people...
Or snowing.
You got to give people like an event. You got to give them a memory. You got to give them a show. You got to give them, you know, a bit of yourself. And so I always think about that. Would I be willing to go through the parking and all of that to see this bullshit? No. So I'm not going to do that bullshit. You know what I mean? And then, so...
I don't think you ever put on a bad show. And I mean, I've been a part of every single show except for just the last one that you had because I was, again, playing Army somewhere. Yeah. But I feel like every show that you put on has been really good. And I think you do a lot of due diligence on trying to have different types of entertainment. Like you had a magician, you have like music. rappers, musicians, like.
Yeah, I think that's the other things, right? So I do obviously the two biggest shows that I do, the 6 ME show and then like Black Friday, the variety show. If I'm doing a stand-up show, I want to make sure that I give the people different types of comedy, right? Mm-hmm. So you could have a comedian that's a storyteller, a comedian that's got one-liners, a comedian that is this, a comedian is observational. So you want to make sure it's the different types. So if you go to that show, you might not love every comic, but you'll walk away like, man, I really enjoyed 2 or 3 of those folks a lot. So I think that's the important thing, the diversity. Like when people talk about diversity, a lot of times it's like white
niggas.
People. Yeah, white people diversity is like, oh, we got to have somebody that's dark in here. But no, you got to have different styles, right? You know, because if not, you'll have the same comic 5 times. And
it's boring.
Yeah. So that's one of the things I always look at it from the seats to the stage instead of the other way. I think a lot of times people are like, I want people to see me, so it's from the stage to the seats. Mm-hmm. But I don't do this for me. Like I know I'm probably on a tangent, but Amber Falter,
another very funny lady,
the homie. I went to one of her shows like 5 years ago, and it was such a good show. And at that time, I didn't even know that there was a local comedy scene. Like I didn't know that there was local comics. Like I guess just growing up in my town, I thought it was either you was funny in class or you was Eddie Murphy. You know what I mean? I didn't know that there was like local comedians, right?
Okay.
And so I went to her show, and it was such a great show. She had Alexis Nelson, the Black Forager, on there. She had Molly Ramirez, or is it Molly Martinez? I might get it, but she's like on like CNN now or something, MSNBC. And she had a few other people, and they were all it was such a great show. It was so funny. And that was my thing. I was like, man, I want people on the outside to know about the art scene. And so like that was always my goal, to see local music, to see local comedy, local whatever. So that was it. Like she was kind of like the catalyst for that. And that's what I've always wanted to do.
She puts on good shows.
Shows are the bomb, man. Yeah. She was doing the the Don't Tell stuff before Don't Tell was popping, like she was the hidden venues or whatever you find out later on. Like that's dope.
Yeah.
And so shout out to her, and shout out to you, and shout out to all the other like creative folks, man, because like that is inspiration to like just do cool stuff, like she's another person. I might have an idea and I'll like, does this sound crazy or whatever? And
shout out to Amber, because she was the one who came up with this podcast.
Yeah.
She's going to be on an episode, but like,
there we go.
She was like, you stupid bitch, why don't you have a fucking goodie bag podcast?
See, there you go, right? She's the reason we're both here, right? Like, but yeah, man, I think locally, a lot of times we have people that think that this is a competition, and it's not. Like, it's that, what is it, rising tides raise all ships or whatever? Like, I don't think any of this is a competition. Like, you doing well inspires me to do well. Like, again, the first time I saw you do stand-up, I was like, that's really cool. Like, she's always been hilarious. Like, it's great to see her do stand-up. I've always wanted to do stand-up, but I was just too afraid to do it. And
stand-up is intimidating. I'd like doing stand-up, but it's also like, I love doing improv, because it's like, I'm making this shit up right now. And so it's like, if it's not funny, okay, bear with me. I'm making this shit up fucking right now.
Right.
But stand-up is just like, I wrote this and I think it's funny and no one's laughing.
It's yes. Improv people are a little bit more generous. The crowd is a little bit more forgiving because they know.
But stand-up people are like, make me laugh,
Make me laugh, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? But it's such a crazy concept though, right? Because it's like, hey, I paid money to laugh. I'm here. Why I ain't laughing? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, bet, fair enough. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. So and I like the challenge of like writing and like putting that together. And obviously I came in from improv as well, but the stand-up part, I love improv, you kind of go with the flow, right? The whole yes ands. But what I love about stand-up is you get to craft your message.
That's true.
You like whatever it is that you want them to know, or at the end of that set, what you want them to take away with, you can give that to them. And I love that. So that writing, and I love wordplay, right? Like my comedic, all of that stuff, it came in probably from like hip hop, so like, some of the double entendres or the tags of jokes. Like I try to make sure, like callbacks. It makes me think of like hip hop is when I'm writing.
Okay.
So like that's always been a thing to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really be writing shit. I'll be making shit up.
I know.
All the time.
So since we were on your podcast, like that was a part of. So when I brought you on to the Black Friday cast, right? So it was the first show, and of course, I had to bring you on, right? My comedy security blanket. And then when I put you on, so if you're not aware, so it's a variety show. So we have stand up, improv, music, and Goodie was doing stand up instead of doing improv. And when I had you do stand up, when I had the show like the following month, I was like, I'm going to put her on the show again just to see if she like does it. You know what I mean? And then the third one. And these shows were like in quick succession. And I was expecting to be like, bro, I'm not going to do the same material over. What am I going to do? But each time you just did something like
I was
different.
just like, I don't know what the fuck I'm about to talk about, nigga. I'm about to just get up there and I'll just be like, what up, niggas? What y'all want to talk about today?
And you just did something different. And I was just like, all right, well, let's just see how long or how far can this go with her just doing new stuff. So it was like really like a joke to me. And I was just like wondering for you to be like, hey man, like how many times you gonna have me do this stand up? You know what I mean? And you just kept going with it. And so you just own it. You're the resident stand up comedian of the variety show.
I love doing the Black Friday show.
Yeah.
I want to do the 670 show next time you produce it.
Yeah.
Where can people find you and get information about when you're producing stuff?
You can find me probably leaving your mom's house. You know what I'm saying? I would just be
Go to
pulling
hell.
up. You can find me on all social media at The God Show. THAGAWDSHOW. The God Show. That's on TikTok. That's on all of that. You play Xbox. It's The God Show there. My Cash App. The God Show. My Venmo, The God Show. And I'm going to go on a small rant. I don't understand like why like comedians and other like entertainers don't do that shit. Like your Instagram be one name and then your TikTok be a different name and the other shit is just too much, man.
I mean, I'm one of those people whose name is different amongst things, but
It's too many, man.
It's just my name is Goody Pussy Yum Yum. I can't put that on fucking Facebook.
No, you can't do that.
And then I couldn't have that as a Twitter, but it's just like Goody Yum Yum on Twitter. And then, but my TikTok is Goody Pussy Yum Yum.
Yeah, I mean it's close. It's close.
You can find me.
Yeah, it's close.
You can find me.
But yeah, The God Show everywhere. Find me.
All right. Well, Terrance ThaGawdShow Davis, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Shout out again to Karen. Thank you for my gift.
Big up Karen Marie.
Big up Karen Marie. All right. Well, that's another episode, y'all. Thank you for hanging out with us, and we'll see y'all next time.
Bye-bye.